Take all three of them.
That's what I heard. Now, Bulliet, guys, we got Michael King in the house. He's got Bulliet bourbon. I don't know shit about Bulliet, so I ain't gonna pretend to start this for guys. We're here with Michael and Chance. Walk them through what's going on, man, because I'm like, what is happening?
You know, I gotta say, I'm generally not impressed by Bulliet. I mean, it's kind of a standard bourbon. It's not anything that's gonna, wow you or is remarkable. And you go to the distillery, it's kind of funny, you actually pay more for a bottle of their whiskey at the distillery than you do at your local liquor store. It's kind of a weird thing.
Is that Stitzel-Weller? Their distillery though? Is the old Stitzel-Weller distillery?
Yeah.
With the keys and all that?
I think so.
Yeah. Or is that Castle and Key?
No, that's Frank.
So you just be making up something.
Castle and Key bought a bunch of Stitzel-Weller distillery when they came out.
It was Taylor. Castle and Key was Taylor.
Yeah.
Where you get this from? Where you get this information from, bro?
Bro, I'm smart, motherfucker.
So when these three bottles came on the market, I'm like, okay, Bulliet, I'm not too crazy about them. They're not bad, but they don't like wow you like some other distilleries. But these are all 17-year single barrel whiskeys, and so okay, I'm like, well, 17 years, you're getting some age. And all three of them had different flavor profiles. They're all take selections. If you know Jay West, if you know take.
Jay West is pretty renowned for great picks. So.
Jay West?
Yeah. He runs the bourbon thread and the bourbon club, if you will, on Reddit. And now he's he was a reviewer on, I forgot, bourbon something website, I forgot what it was. Now he's doing his own thing. And so he's got a pretty good palate, and he picks good barrels, but seeing a 17-year Bulliet, I've never seen that before. Usually the most you see is a 10-year. And so I'm like, well, I'm going to get all three of them because 17-year whiskey is usually a pretty good gamble, and the price point was actually pretty affordable per bottle. So I'm like, I'll get all three. And then this fourth bottle, if you ever have come across Pursuit, they do distill their own whiskey, and they actually come out with some pretty good stuff. We did a lineup at my house a few days ago where we're doing these double oak rye and double oak bourbons, and they were pretty good. But they sent me an email because I'm part of their whiskey club, and they're like, hey, would you like to enter into the opportunity to buy this bottle? And all they tell you is that it's a 20-year-old whiskey. That's all you know. You don't know anything about it. And it's, I think, like $400. So I'm like, but still, how often do you find 20-year-old whiskey, right? So I'm like, I will put my name in, and then of course, I get the email saying, congratulations, we've charged your credit card. So here you go.
So you're in P Club?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so P Club, and so they don't really tell you anything about the mash bill, the origins. Pursuit hasn't been around for 20 years, so.
Well, they've always sourced.
Yeah, they've always sourced, but so I don't know who they source this from.
It's usually three particular places they source from, but being at this age, it has to be somewhere else.
Yeah, and I can tell you, it's an intersection of Kentucky and Memphis magic. So like, well, what does that mean?
Okay.
Because it makes you think. Single barrel select, but that makes you think blend when it says that, right?
Yeah. So maybe it was distilled in Kentucky, aged in Memphis. I don't think it was the other way around.
Yeah.
But I would say all of these barrels
could be Blue Note, and then aged in Kentucky.
Memphis, yeah, but Blue Note's not that old.
No, they're not.
And this is only 57, 114 proof. So all of these are pretty low proof for single barrels. So I think these are all sort of an exploration in subtlety, in kind of trying to get the nuances, because they don't have these big, flavor punches like you get from those high proof cast strength whiskeys. And so this isn't, all of these are nice pours. This one I think is of the four is the best pour, but you have to sit with it. You've got to really kind of examine it and explore it to get get everything out of it, because it's only 114. It's not like 125 or 130 or what you were showing me earlier. 145.
So which one would you say start with based on the ones you try? A lot of times I don't try to drink everything that's here, bro. It's too much whiskey.
I would say
when the feds came in last time, the ambulance.
the feds.
It felt like the feds to a brother. It was 20 fucking bottles of whiskey on the thing. You're like, hey, what's going on here, bro? We just drinking whiskey. What happened? It wasn't because he drank the whiskey. That's for damn sure.
I would say the discerning drinker who's going to limit the number of pours they have should go for the 20-year, right? Because how often you come across a 20-year-old?
But and this is Bulliet?
No, this is Pursuit.
Yeah, this is
hold on, I'm talking about the Bulliet. Then we'll get to Pursuit.
Oh, the Bullets. I mean, they're all sister barrels, right? It's
sisters.
Yeah, so it's all nuances between them of flavor, and so they're all going to bring something a little bit different. I couldn't tell you of the three off the top of my head which is the best one.
Yeah. Because you didn't have the favorite one out of them.
I'm excited to try.
When I drank to open these bottles last weekend. I started off with 3 18-year-old Dickles, and then went to 3 17-year-old.
Dickle. Fuck that Dickle pickle.
and then went to these 3, 17-year Bullets, and then went to these Bull Runs that were also 17 years, but aged in
Who's
Pinot.
Bull Run?
Bull Run is also a non-distilling producer, and they had an interesting lineup of 3 17-year bourbons that were then aged for 14 months, 28 months, and then 33 months in Pinot Noir casks. So you got trying them all next to each other.
Only people who know them kind of months is convicts. so they're like, yo, he got 36 months. You like, what's the math on that? He got 60.
36 months.
Them convict numbers right there.
And I'm happy because I only got 60 months.
So your regular store-bought Bullets, they have really cool stuff because they contract distill first of all.
Yeah.
But they control the yeast in their contract distillation, which is different, right? Being these ages, these were definitely sourced.
Yeah.
And you can tell it says bottled by. It doesn't say distilled by.
Exactly. So they were NDP in this, huh?
But they say Kentucky straight, which means they're not MGP.
All right, so tell me this: is this the one we're drinking right now? And okay, and these are how old again?
17.
Nice, cheers, Bubba. Cheers. Thank you for bringing these.
Yeah. So you always have such access, as Trevor says. The best whiskey in the world is always in this house.
Hey.
So when I bring whiskey, I try to bring things that you guys just don't come across. It's a little bit off the beaten path. Gonna give you something a little different.
No, this is good because it gives us a diverse perspective on all that stuff. So I've
sure
told
we
people
find
before, if you have whiskey dreams up there, if you have whiskey dreams, whiskey concepts between, I think, Chance, myself, and others. I mean, Buck one time was like, we got to finish this stag. I'm like, bro, nobody's going to finish that. Just give it to me. He's like, all right, you can leave with it. I bring some good stuff. And then if I'm like, Tim, I need such and such. It's funny because when I told Richard, I said, hey, I need the notes on proper toast. He was like, 2 or 3. I was like, dude, I got the first one. What the fuck are we talking about? He was like,
He wasn't around for one though.
that's my point. But he thought I needed. I'm like, bruh, the first one. You could get that. But they were like, that's the best pour of the night. So when you get with Chance, Jimmy, Tim, and all the others, I keep telling them it's just whiskey.
That's got good flavor.
Yeah.
For such a low proofer, it's good.
Oh, these are whole foods?
104?
Yeah, you gotta sit with them and just.
I mean, it's
drinks
low word,
nice
but-
though.
I tried this green Weller when I did a red or green video earlier. I said 90 proof. I knew something was off.
That's a mixture. That's a mixture of Weller's. That Weller Green's a mixer. But when I was younger, we were cheap. We drank that shit. We'd get a half gallon for $20 back in the day. $18. Yeah. In North Dallas, we drive through the ice boxes, a drive-through liquor and beer store. We get a handle of Weller's and 12 back of beer.
Guys, listen, what Bullet? Who makes Bullet?
Well, they contract, so it could be anybody.
I think they make their own now.
Finally make last year was the first year they had their own distiller.
Yeah.
And what was the oldest? Like, what was the age on it?
7.5.
Okay.
Yeah, they're pretty relatively new to the game. What would you say, 15, 20 years? Maybe?
I think they've been in it about 10 or 12. Yeah.
Okay, so not even 15.
Yeah.
Pretty new.
Well, look, Michael, thank you for definitely bringing these, man. We're going to do some shorts on this stuff.
Well, that
Definitely gotta try
Pursuit makes some good stuff, too. They were at the Whiskey Tango event, the charity event, and their stuff's killer, dude. I really like what they're doing.
Kenny and those guys, I mean.
You think?
I've got a double-barreled rye they have that they released called the Blend of Ophelia, and we tried it against their regular double-barreled rye, and it's something special. And I can see why it's sold out like that. I was able to grab a bottle of it just being part of P Club, and so yeah. So every time I got one that's coming in, this Sakura oak, a Japanese oak finished. So it'll be kind of interesting to see what that one's like. But yeah, they do
Ain't
some
that
interesting stuff
like
over there.
Yu-Gi-Oh or something? Oh, guys, listen, keep it whiskey, man. We're going to get into some shorts. Pursuit.
Keep it old whiskey.
Yeah, this is old. This is 17 years old these years.
Look, man, I still don't know what's going on.
I think it's heavy. To be honest,
I'm not going to pretend, guys. Like what's the...
I think it's heavy.
Say it in months so he understands it.
Yeah. what's like Van Winkle Family Reserve? How old is that?
14, 13 years. The rye?
Yeah.
10 to 14.
See what I'm
They
saying?
used to be 14, then they went to 13.
And then like what's Willet? rye. What's that?
4 years old, 3 years old.
4 to
6.
15.
Yeah.
4 and up.
You see what I'm saying, guys? I took
They
photos.
used to do 2
I'm gonna show
years.
Chance. I did take photos, but at any guys, keep it whiskey. Thank you a ton, Michael, for bringing these. But I'm gonna try to pursue next, man. Good whiskey so far. The Bullet is good. I'm surprised. I
Darren's in the house.
Theron.
Boredom besets me like a pack of bloody hounds on a wild fox.